questions, so digging deep. With that being said, thank you for coming here today. So without any further ado, welcome to video marketing. How to effectively use video in real estate marketing. All right. So currently there's a huge technology revolution taking place in real estate. Either you're watching it or it's coming right by you. So with that being said, can we agree on this fact? 98% of all home buyers go online first. I can't hear you. All right. This is the way we search. Right? So check this out, guys. In 2015, us realtors, we are fighting over 15 inches of computer for the most part. So 98% of all home buyers go online, and this is the way we search. So do me a favor, try to shift a little bit your mentality and ask yourself this question. You know, what real estate nowadays, the question is, how really can I showcase my property online? All right? I don't know if you guys know this stat or not, but 50% of all internet activity is video. And not the video that you watch, George. I'm talking about normal videos. Okay? If you guys go to CNN, MSNBC, all the major networks, all the major websites, anything that's big or that's important is video. It starts off with video. Video is the most dominant medium out there. Okay? So with 50% of internet activity being video, and with 98% of our audience going online, I don't have to tell you where we're going with this, right? According to Filmmaker Magazine, I don't know if any of you guys subscribe to it, I do. But according to Filmmaker Magazine, video does help market homes. For the real estate agent, it's the best listing tool out there. Okay, so before I go any further, let me ask you guys this question. How many of you guys have an extra space in your listing presentation for the best listing tool ever? And I hope all you guys have one. Okay, so if you guys don't see the big picture, here it is. Okay, 98% of all home buyers go online. 50% of the times that we're online, we watch video. This is the way we search, and Filmmaker Magazine says that video is the best listing tool out there. So with that being said, when it comes to creating a video, okay, I try to keep it very simple. Okay, when I get a property, I play director. So the first thing I do with my videos, or if I hire somebody to do my videos, I'm going to tell them the first thing I want is the address to come out in the front. I want to start off with the exterior shot of the front. I want to do the interior, and then I want to end it with the exterior. And then after that, end it with my name and my information. Okay, so full address, exterior, interior, and contact info. Now, I speak to realtors all the time, and they always say, George, you know, I have this video, I did this video, and my question to them is, how are they getting out there? How are they distributing their content? Okay, anybody can hire somebody to do video. The question is, can you get your video in front of your buyer's eyes? Okay, so what do? We host our video in 3 different main places. Number 1 is YouTube, and I'll tell you why in a bit. Number 2 is VMO. Number 3 is Facebook, and when we're able to do some short videos, we'll throw it on Instagram. Okay, so that's where I'm going to host my video. So once I get it, I'm going to put it there. It's going to live there. Okay, once it's there, I'm going to use that to distribute it to as many channels as I possibly can. Okay, so you'll see, I'll put it on the MLS, and I'll put on my MLS descriptions. Guys, watch the HD video of our listing. Okay, I'll put that in the description. Okay, I'm going to put it in my email and my listing presentation. So when I pitch, or if I get a listing from my farm area, how cool will it be to have a video of something in their farm area? Email, print, and my website, I put it on there, QR codes and URLs. Also on social media wise, and my social networks, Facebook, I'm going to send it to my social circle. LinkedIn, I'm going to send it to my business circle. Okay, Google Plus, whoever's watching that's going to see it there. I'm going to throw it on Twitter, Pinterest, and again, Instagram there again. So you can see one video, we have 10 different distribution channels out there. Okay, so if I find any more new ones, I'll definitely add it onto the presentation. Just to give you guys a sample video, okay? When you shoot a video, people like to get very creative. They like to get really artsy. And the reality of what I've realized, and I'm talking to you with 1,050 videos of experiences, people don't care about artsy. They want to see the interior of that house as clearly as you can. Okay, so let me show you a little bit of the style that we use, and it's been very successful. Let me speed up a little bit. So I'm going to turn off the music, and this is a small little apartment, and the reason why I show it is because it's a short video. So let me see if I can play with this internet. So you can see once we enter the unit, my question is really simple. Can this video give you the impression that you're walking in this unit from your iPhone, your iPad, or your computer? So you can see we shoot here, we have a wide angle camera, we put it on a Steadicam, and we walk the unit. We open the door, and we walk the unit like if a homeowner was walking it. So you see us enter the bathroom, we'll go here and show the washer and dryer. Once we hit our main shots, we slow it down by 50% in order so people can really appreciate what is in the house. So you can see this is a 1-bedroom. We just saw the kitchen. We're shooting the great room. And then once we hit the great room, we go into the master bedroom. All right, master bedroom, we shoot at the floor so we can show the flooring, and we go up to the light. Once we hit the light, we move on to our next room. Here we go into the master bath. Okay, once we enter the master bath, and we go all the way to the top, okay, now you get to see what pictures can show, which is really the view. Okay, so you guys saw this video. The cool thing about this video is the following. Somebody calls me for this listing, I am not going to drive over there to show the listing. I'm going to say, watch the video. And if you like the video, I'm going to run over there and show you that property. Okay? This cuts my showing time, ladies and gentlemen, by 90%. By 90% it cuts my showing time. Okay? So I get this video. First thing I do is I put it on YouTube. YouTube is the second biggest engine in the world, search engine. Not only that, but Google owns it. And for those of you guys that are playing the SEO or looking for better ranking, guess what? You have to play ball with them. So any collateral you get, especially video, you need to put it with them and put it with your account. So once it's on YouTube, okay, Google tells me, George says you put it on YouTube, when people type my address, there's a 53% chance that Google's going to rank it number 1. Okay, and sure enough, when you look at our videos with our addresses and you search the address, you get Google Maps, and then you get our videos right under. Okay, Facebook, viewership has spiked incredibly. As a matter of fact, in the last 6 to 7 months, I don't prefer, but I get most of my video views from Facebook over YouTube. So Facebook, over the last 6 or 7 months, has slowly dominated the video industry.
Business page on Facebook?
Yeah, that's my business page on Facebook. So going back to Facebook, Facebook's making a huge attempt to go after YouTube's videos. And again, I don't know if you guys are on Facebook lately, but they're full of funny short videos. And sometimes when you're driving, you almost crash watching all these videos. All right? The cool thing about Facebook and YouTube is that it gives us analytics. And in real estate, we do a lot of blind advertisement, very little ways to track our rate of return. Here, they give you phenomenal analytical information. Okay, analytics is the discovery and the communication of meaningful patterns in data. So when it comes to Facebook, okay, these are all the ads and the marketing pieces that we run on a monthly or quarterly basis. And you can see those that have video outperform all of my mediums by 1,000 times. Okay, and that's how we spend a pretty penny in our marketing outside of video as well. And video by far dominates our audience. Okay, you can see here 418 videos were played, 2 links and 6 likes. Okay, in YouTube, okay, it tells me how many views I had, 1,900. How long did they watch for? And more importantly, where am I getting my sources from? So from a marketing perspective, it gives me a lot of information of where my people are coming from, where they're going, and again, allows me to put my money where I think it's going to best be utilized. Okay? One of my most interesting facts here is mobile apps. 56% of my videos are mobile apps. So people are going with their Trulia, their Zillow, their MLS Goes, and they're standing in front of properties and they're clicking the view button and they're watching these properties from their phone. Okay? At the very beginning of my presentation, I showed you guys that lady on bed with that 15-inch computer. In 2 years, it might be a girl with an iPad or an iPhone. That's how mobile, is going. All right. So, for those of you guys that work for Realogy, for those of you guys that don't know Cogswell Bankers, Century 21, and these big firms, in 2015, they came out with their Investor Days presentation. So I went, obviously, as a competitor, and I wanted to see what my competition was doing, where they were getting their information from, and out of the whole entire presentation, what I liked was this chart that they got. They sent a survey to all of their agents, and they asked them, where are you getting your buyers from, and where are you getting your sellers from? Okay, and if you guys look at both charts, with big dominance, past clients and sphere of influence dominate this arena. When it comes to listings, over 68% of your listings, in theory, should come from your past clients and your social circle. Okay, so check this out. When I do a video and I market my marketing, I put it on Facebook. Why? Because my whole entire social circle is on Facebook. I put it on LinkedIn because my past clients are there. So when I speak with some of my agents, they come into my office and they say, George, I want a flyer 33134. And my first question is, what are you doing to market to your past clients and your sphere of influence? And it's usually nothing. And I always say, before we go flyer an area, we need to dominate this audience. And again, for me, video has been one of the easiest ways to really flex our value proposition online. And it doesn't cost us anything to distribute, no flyer, no stamps, no do not call us. It's out there, it's in their face, and they have to see it. Okay, the cool thing is social distribution. Once we get a video, we put it on Facebook, we put it on LinkedIn, we put it on Pinterest, we put it on Twitter, we host it on YouTube. So check out all these avenues that we have to sort of distribute our stuff socially. This is one video, many dimensions that we can send it out. Okay? Now, not only online, but when we create print and email marketing, we put our videos there as well. So you can see if we have multiple listings, we can put our multiple listings with our video. If we're doing a flyer, we can put our video with a QR code. Okay, for those of you guys that are wondering who this beautiful woman is, she's my wife. Okay. When you send the flyer as well, top corner, watch the video. Check out the QR code. So the cool thing is that when I put my video on YouTube and I launch my listing, I get a huge spike the first 30, 45 days of heavy interest. And as you guys know, after 30, 45 days, our interest drops. We've been in the market too long. Okay? I send the flyer campaign, and I'll get a spike in my YouTube analytics. So again, I'm able to go back to my owner and say, hey, listen, we got 1,900 views. We did an email campaign to the brokers. Look at the spike. We did a mail campaign. Look at the spike. We still haven't sold the property. Okay? This is not a marketing issue. We need a price improvement, right? So video attracts 6 times more buyers to your listing. Okay? Keeping them 6 times longer on your listing. Okay? Giving you 6 times the chances to sell that home. All right? You guys might recognize this bicep. I'm not talking about that one. That one. I used to work out. I got married with 2 kids. Now I'm sporting the dad bod. If you guys don't know what it is, Google it. So once you create video and obviously great photography, you are 6 times stronger than the average listing. So imagine you get that and you slam that in your IDX, and guess what? This is where 98% of all home buyers are going. Okay, and you have the best possible medium out there. So when that lady is at night in her bed looking through her listings, if she happens to find your listing and she happens to dig into it and read, it's going to say, watch the video. And she's going to watch that video. God forbid if she falls in love with it in the middle of the night, she's going to email it to her girlfriends, her friends, her husband's mom, and it's going viral for that little audience for that minute. Okay, so here we're going to talk about the future of real estate video. Okay, and we've all heard about drones and what's going on with the drones, and all the information that I've gotten is obviously it's illegal, so don't do it. The footage that you're going to see today is one that I found in my mailbox, and we were able to produce it and put it up here for you guys. Okay, but videos and a real plug for RPAC real quick. The people in our governmental affairs have been fighting this tooth and nail. For a company like mine, this is how we flex our value proposition, and it's a great way of showing how government is really stepping in the way of my business. I'm a responsible real estate broker, and right now it's illegal for me to fly it, and again, my 13-year-old kid can fly it and crash it into a cop car and not have any issues. So with that being said, for us, aerial video is a very powerful listing tool. I've gone into many high-end listings, and they're asking me, what are you going to do different? And obviously, this is an easy one to pull out of the hat and say, this is what I'm going to do different. Is this impressive? Does this wow you? Does this show your property from the best angles? It does. Sign the listing agreement. Okay? It's the best way to view a property, and I'll show you some cool examples as we go. Drone can show how close properties are to the beaches, the golf courses, not the airport because we're not allowed to fly near there. Okay? Shopping centers, major roads, which could be critical to customers. Okay? So check this out. Don't go buy a drone because you might end up in a divorce. Okay, hire somebody to do it. So check this out. When we started flying the drones, we came up with some of our custom shots that we sort of made up on the fly. So the first one that I'm going to talk to you is a little bit about a listing that we got in Weston, and this listing wasn't able to sell, and we told them, we're going to be able to show, why people want to buy this house, and when you go over these palm trees, you'll definitely see why. They have a golf course view in the back. And no matter from where I tried to take that picture in that backyard, I would have never been able to capture this type of, visual this is the fly-in. Do not try this at home. I've lost several drones attempting this. Okay? But you can see that from many different angles, and this coming, going through the trees again is very dangerous, so don't try this at home either. But we show the property from different angles, different ways. And if you're trying to buy this house, you're looking at these videos over and over again. This piece will be ingrained into your mind. Okay? So this is just one golf course one that we had. This is one that we shot with that drone right there. Okay? And you can see when we get to the top, you're going to see that cruise ship leaving at the very same time, which I thought was really cool. And again, there's no better way to see South Florida than this. And I can't imagine how beautiful the Keys is going to look once this becomes rampant here. All right. So let me go to the next one just to show you some other cool little visual things that we're shooting here. This is actually Palm Island in Miami Beach. And the cool thing is that this house is a bit older. It was tough to sell. But what really sells this house is this view behind. And you guys can ooh and ah if you want to. Don't be shy. But, these views are spectacular. And you know what? I can stand up in that dock all day and take as many pictures, sunrise, sunset, and nothing's going to show this property like this. All right? So, going back to this slide that for me, I found it very telling. Okay? 46%, your sphere of influence, 12% your past clients. When it comes to listing, which we're all listing agents here, correct? 24 and 42, 68% past clients and social circle. So my question to you all today is, what are you doing besides emails, campaigns to touch these people? And let me tell you what I have found to be very successful. Social media-wise, email-wise, this is content marketing. This is you guys in the act of. This is not a picture. Less than 1% of realtors do this, and less than that do it consistently. So if you're able to add this, to your listing proposition, we got 36,500 agents out there. Ask yourself this question: what is going to make you different? Why should I pick you? Service. When I hear, what's your value proposition? I hear service. I hear, come on, that's a gimme. Service is what you got to give to be in the business. So moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, this type of technology is, we saw the danger report last month from the NAR. This should have been in the danger report. We are going to be extinct if we don't add this to our bag of tricks. Our biggest threat today is 16 years old sitting in a garage playing with this type of stuff. Okay? When we do videos, okay, we've learned with the amounts that we've done that we have to throw some rules. Okay? If you guys want to take a picture of this, feel free. Okay, but agent must obviously be present. Power must be on. You'd be surprised how many times we go to properties and, the owner left, he turned off the power. And obviously you can't do good videos inside without lighting. Okay? Agent must confirm the house is in showing condition. Okay? You guys are paying for a photographer to come in there and waste his time. I would only pay for a photographer to come in there or a videographer if the property is in showing condition. You're spending big money on collateral. The property needs to have its best foot forward first. Okay? Key access. Okay? This is 2015. Our schedules change, traffic. Especially for that videographer or photographer, you're going to want to make sure that you don't have an appointment with the client. That, hey, you know what, we can be here and I'll give you half an hour, time before. Must be listed on the MLS with full description. Check this out. This is where SEO comes into play. Okay? Once you get a video and you put it on YouTube and Facebook, okay, before you put it on YouTube and Facebook, you should go to your website, your personal website. You should get that listing, that URL, and put it under the video. And when you put the video on Facebook, for more information, go to this link, and it should go back to your website where that listing is. Okay? If you shoot the video first and you publish it, Google won't recognize you adding that website after. So it's all got to be done before. Which part? Or all of it? So check this out. Once you do a video, before you publish it throughout the whole internet or on the MLS, you're going to go to your personal website. You're going to find that listing that you entered in the day before or the night before. And that URL, you're going to put that URL everywhere you put the video, and you're going to say for more information. So when I publish my videos online, I usually start with the address, and then I'll get my agent's just remarks. And then I'll end it with more information to my website. I'll put that on my YouTube and my Facebook. So just my website gets hits from YouTube and Facebook, and it sort of helps it, grow. Check the weather forecast. This is South Florida. There's nothing worse than going out there taking phenomenal pictures and it be storming outside. Okay, and my biggest pet peeve is lights. Ladies and gentlemen, houses are very poorly lit, and you gotta have a really good camera, really good tripod, and you really need to know what you're doing to really get good pictures. Make it easy for them, and make sure that all the lights are working. These are sort of like pre-listing checklists that you need to go and talk to your client and say, this is what I want. This is how I want it. So video. Video will engage customers, build trust and credibility, add a face to your company, drive traffic to your sites and to your listings, and last but not least, cut your showing times by 90%. Okay, Robert Kernagel, from the Vice President of YouTube, said within a few years, 90% of web traffic will be video. 90%. So the question is, what are you guys going to do starting today to put yourself in a position to react to this type of market that's out there? Okay. This is my contact information. If you guys want to take a picture of it, you can. If you follow my YouTube or my Instagram, you'll see the videos that we produce on a daily. Okay, what I recommend you guys to do is when you guys hire a photographer or a videographer, point them here and say, guy, I need you just to copy this. Don't reinvent the wheel, or give me something to create more than this. But this is sort of what you need. With that being said, I'm going to open up to questions. So if you guys have any questions, any thoughts, anything you guys want to shoot, go for it. I'm going to go this way in order.
So I've been having trouble finding somebody around here.
Try the high school. Try the high school. Intern. I went to Christopher Columbus, all boys school in South Florida, and I'm part of the Alumni Association. And our high school, their TV channel in-house won, I think it was nationals. So I contacted the school and I said, listen, I'm looking for an intern. You guys want, who does video? And I got a 16-year-old kid that can't drive, that I'm going to have him drive to my office, and we're going to do, Carlos will talk about that a little bit more, but more agent interviews, more top fives, just to create some collateral.
Nice. And if I do find someone that outside of high school, what's the average pay, would you say?
So great question. I've seen prices, and we do it in-house, but I've seen prices go from $1,500 as low as $800. But with both. So it really depends. Sometimes you get that 20-year-old kid that is willing to give you major stuff for little money, and then you have that experienced professional that says, hey, my time is worth something, I'm going to charge you this much. So what I would recommend you guys to do, the Keys, I'm sure, is a very small place. I'm sure you guys should know who's videotaping and who's not. I'm looking for quality. I'm looking for, to keep it simple. I'm not looking for much creativity. I'm looking for, can you make me feel like I've walked this house?
One last question.
I'll be here till 3.
What are you using for equipment for the regular video?
So great question. It's probably the best question out there. And this is if you're going to try to attempt it yourself, which I don't recommend you do. But, so she says, what type of equipment do we use? And I said it was a great question. I don't recommend you guys to go out there and buy it, but let me explain to you what it takes to get sort of this. The very first thing we need to understand is that houses are poorly lit. So just buying any camera isn't going to really work. You need to get what we call a full frame sensor camera, okay, full frame sensor, and you need a tripod, okay, just because the tripod allows more light to come in. When it comes to lens, we got a 16 millimeter lens. I think it's 16 millimeters to 32, okay, and we shoot at 60 millimeters. Okay, when we're shooting video, we'll get that same camera that we were shooting pictures interiorly, and we'll switch it to video. Okay, what we do different in video is we'll put our frame rate at 60 frames per second. Okay, you might say, why are you doing that? And the answer is when we go into our rooms and we slow it down to 30 frames per second. So you get that, it sort of looks like a picture stopped and it just moves. It gives you that sort of illusion. If you shoot at 30 frames and you slow it down, then your slow motion is at 15 frames and you get that chop in your video. So we shoot at 60, and to give you an idea, a 60 framed full sensor camera is probably running today around $2,900 at the very least. So just to give you an idea. The lens is from 16 to 32, that's probably running around, I want to say $1,300, that lens alone. Once you get that, the next piece that's critical is the glide cam. So if you guys see in our videos, there's no step with a camera. Okay, the glide cam, think of a tray with water. Think of that's a glide cam. So you sort of walk the property, and even though you step, the camera stays still. So the glide cam is not a tray, but it's two little sticks and a gimbal with the weight of the camera on the bottom and then the camera on top. And sort of like if you're shooting a gun, you just walk in there, go to the floor, go up, come out at 60 frames, slow down your good shots to 30, started with the inside and ended with the outside.
How much is that glide cam?
$7,800 as well. B&H Photography online, delivered to your house.
Oh, hi, okay. So, one is a technical question about
Good.
the slowing down part.
So I was noticing that you slowed down. Is that something you do at the moment that you're, as you're videoing, you're knowing when to slow down, or is that something you do?
So check this out. We've done 1,050 videos. So as we go, we learn. And once you shoot and edit, you sort of see little things where you say, you know what, if I could just do this different, do this, it'll completely change or improve my time, and the way that we shoot. So to give you an idea, what we do first, our methods when we shoot is, the first thing we do is we shoot photography. So we walk in there and we shoot pictures. As we shoot pictures, we map in our minds what's probably the best way to walk this property. Once we take pictures, and the reason why we take pictures first is we take pictures and we turn on lights. Take pictures and turn on lights. And once we turn on all the lights, take all the pictures, we'll tell everybody to get outside the house. We'll put on the glide cam, the camera, and we'll have somebody open the door. If they can hide behind the door, it'll be opening. If not, the door will stay open. And we'll just walk in there like if we're touring the house ourselves. Very, not creative, very simple, but very clear for them.
Slow it down to the 30.
So check this out. If I walk in there and I go down and I go up, when I get into my computer, okay, I'll cut the coming in and the top, and I'll slow it down.
So you do that in the edit?
Yeah, in the edit.
Okay, good. And then I noticed there was music that came on in the very beginning.
Oh, another great question.
Turned it off. So do you keep all of this completely silent as far as any blah, blah,
So
only music?
great question. Real estate video is awesome. If you have real estate video and some good music, it's even better. And if you have real estate video, music, and a voiceover, it's the best.
So if I'm shooting and I'm walking through, like right now I do very casual little videos for my out-of-town clients, and they love my little commentary. I try to do it short little bursts, little sound bites,
So put
because
it.
I'm giving my impressions and they trust me. So is that appropriate?
That's awesome.
Why do you do that?
I don't, but I do a little bit better of a video shot, less talk, and I don't sell real estate. But if you're shooting video, giving commentary, and your clients like it, I think that's awesome. I think that's a phenomenal step.
Find the cameraman, or if I could be, with the mic at the moment.
So check this out. As a guy who's into video, I collect a lot of videos that I like, okay? And I archive them just because, I might want to do it at some other point. And I'll show you guys a quick little video since I have some time of something, a similar style that you're talking about that I really love, but I haven't been able to sort of coordinate that shot yet. So watch this real quick. Huh? Yeah, I will. Let me see if I find it real quick. And this is not it.
40.
Grab your.
Yeah, this is it right here. No, this is not it. Close. Close. No. No. So this is it right here, last one, right? So I thought this was very clever of a realtor. I thought this was really cool. Maybe a little bit too much energy for me, but you guys get the idea, right? So for me, I'm a broker. I would love to get an agent with this much energy and this much creativity that would do this. I would do this for him all day. Talk about, So you can see they definitely walked this house before, so he'll just end up in a scene and talk, walk around the camera. cool, right? So guys, you guys can tell sort of with this short video what, I'm not going to make you watch it all, but you guys sort of get an idea on, huh? This one is 5 minutes. But you know what? I'm a big advocate of 2 to 3 minutes at the very most. But when you're being this creative, he had me the whole entire 5 minutes. He had me. So check this out. There's many different ways to do this. You know, I tell everybody, you know, video is like the gym. As long as you go there and do it, it doesn't matter which style you choose, as long as you produce something of quality.
If you're ready to do that walkthrough with the whole thing, and you got the guys, maybe you shoot some with commentary and some just, or you know, without the.
So you know what? Let me ask you a question. If you're buying a house and you're buying $1 million house in the Keys, I want to hear, see everything.
I know, after a while, he would really.
Well, after a while, I bought that house and I'm out of there. Yeah, I'm not going to watch this video. So, and the other thing is, you know, when you think about, will a buyer appreciate it? For sure in the commentary, the real question is, forget about the buyer, will the seller appreciate it? Because we're here to really win listings. So the question is, will the seller be impressed? You know, if the seller interviews 4 to 5 agents and sees one like this outside the box, I don't know about you, but I'm hiring this guy. You know, I'm sure I'm going to interview 3 agents. They're going to tell me about their pictures, their flyers, how glossy they are, and their internet and their web pages. Great, I hear that story all the time, but what else? You know, I'm going to pay you 3% of $1 million. You know, give me some oomph.
Just have the voice in the background and blank.
So, I'll share with you a tip. When some of my people want to do audio, okay, we go out there and we film. And for those of you guys that have an iPhone, we have this awesome app called Recorder. Lock yourself up in the car, record what you're going to say while watching the video, and they email it to us, and we just lay it down on the bottom. So without even have to go into the studio, lock yourself in the car, voice over, and drop it in there. But for those of you guys that are going to do it yourselves, I'm going to say start. You know, the only way that I got to where I am is because I've made 1,000 mistakes financially and online to get to where I'm at. But you have to start somewhere. And for those of you guys that are going to pay, make sure that they understand what you want. And you want a walkthrough. You want it to be very clear of what the house is. You want to be able to save a drive, okay? And you're going to want that video to yourself. I was talking to somebody here earlier that said, you know, my videographer put it on his YouTube page, and I didn't know how to share it. And I always say, no, you got to get that video and put it on your page and put it part of your collateral. You know, he has no business owning that or having it or controlling it. Questions, concerns?
You mentioned that little square box, QR.
QR code.
Yeah.
So QR code, how would I work it is I'd probably put my video on YouTube, and on YouTube I would get the URL, the address to YouTube. I would Google QR code generator, and a bunch of them come up that are free. And what you do is you plug in the URL and you press generate, and it'll download a QR code that if you use a QR app, it'll send it there. So from there you get that, and you put it on your flyer, you put it on your print collateral.
And then scan it with
You can put it in the back of your business card. It is, yeah.
So did you say if there was some way to keep people from being able to take your videos?
So check this out. I'm not really too worried. If I'm listing a property,
No, I'm not talking about an actual property. If you're doing a video about information about an area.
so chances are it's going to be heavily branded. Logos in the corners, one of my agents speaking, you know, so we're going to put it
So
there.
that they won't want it.
Yeah. And keep in mind that Google, believe it or not, is pretty good when it comes to copywriting. I've had people that have stolen my videos before, and I just reported to YouTube, and they will take it out. Yeah. I said if they steal your video, you know how in the MLS you steal our pictures for rentals? If they steal your videos, I tell her, you know, we heavily brand it, so it's really tough to steal. And if they do steal it, we tell Google and YouTube with a button, and they do a really good job of taking that video out.
I was going to tell you one more thing about her question about talking in the videos. I had an agent who wanted me to videotape her in the houses, and she kept screwing up or kept, you know, didn't have the confidence to sit there and talk about the house. So we stopped, and I did the video, and then we did a voiceover, which made it much easier. But you know,
So you know what? From somebody who does this all the time, I tell people you have to rehearse. You have to go in there and don't come with a piece of paper. You need to, if you're going to waste my camera time, my hour of high production value, you know, you need to go in there and hit your scenes right away. I understand if you mess up a couple of times, but make sure you're not reading off the screen. So, you know, I don't mind helping people out as long as they do their preparation.
right, so she does her video like that, just be ready ready to say it.
For sure.
Start the video.
For sure. So again, any type of video, we have to start somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. So any attempt,
And you can always pull out the soundtrack if it just gets trashed and voice over it later.
there's nothing you can't do. I don't know if that answered your question.
Time and money. So,
There's nothing, when it comes to video and editing, you can put, remove, add, subtract at a moment's notice. Wayne.
I just wanted to mention to those of you, especially from the Keys, when he keeps mentioning if you want to hire someone, there is a gentleman in this room right here that does that.
Okay, perfect. There you go.
With the videos to video the classes, so.
Excellent. So from another videographer to videographer, when I first got into the business, that was my first Panasonic right there. Is it Panasonic?
Yeah.
This is the first cap?
Sony.
Sony, okay. I got a Panasonic this big. So I had to go to DSLR with a wide angle lens. But you pay big money for this. Good camera.
What's a good basic editing software to use?
If you're going to start, do you have a Mac or a PC? Okay, nobody's perfect. We're not going to judge you here. So check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Macs are marketing machines. So I first got my first Mac the minute I started editing video. And I can tell you one thing, I've never gone back. So what would I tell you to do? For me, the easiest way to edit video is to go buy yourself the least expensive Mac. $400 or $500. It's called the Mac Mini. Okay, and use iMovie. Do you have an iPhone? Okay, we have a lot of work to do with you then. Okay, but for those of you guys that have iPhone, download iMovie. If you're able to work iMovie on your iPhone, it's a very easy transition into the Mac. And then once you're using iMovie in the Mac, it's just another step into a professional software called like Final Cut Pro. It does?
Windows Movie Maker, it's the PC version of.
Yeah, none of my high-end photography friends have ever heard of that before in my life. But but the cool thing about Apple and the cool thing about iMovie is their design. It's more visual. So for us that are visual and not really that tech, it's much easier for us to grasp that type of program than if we go to Windows. Windows is more complicated. You would kill it in iMovie. I can tell. By the way you're right. For those of you guys that have seen Carlos Gutierrez, our next president from our residential board, he walks around with his iPhone and he shoots movies all the time with his iPhone and he edits it right there on iMovie. And he puts a voiceover on iMovie as well. Very powerful, and that's mobile. Okay? So my advice is get a Mac. Very easy. Mac, you plug it in and it just recognizes it. No drivers imported in there. And when I started, I had a Mac and I would work out of a PC. But I would edit out of a Mac, and the Mac slowly stole my heart. And then, I never saw a PC again. And the cheapest Mac, $499, plugs into your monitor, and it can definitely change your life. All right, question over there in the green. No questions? Okay. So, any questions? Guys, I have 20 more minutes before I give Carlos his shot, or do you guys want Carlos to start early?
Actually, we need to do the 2 o'clock drawing outside.
Okay. So while I'm killing some time, I'll share with you a little bit of a story on how I got into video. In 2005, I shared this story with you. 2005, I opened up my company. It was called RESF, Real Estate Salesforce. I was doing turnkey sales for developers only. That was my niche. From 2005 to 2006-07, we probably picked up over $300 million worth of developments that we were going to turnkey sales for them. For those of you guys that read the news or were practicing during that time, we all know that the crash happened right after that. So I closed no deals. I had a bunch of listings, and my sphere went bankrupt. So I knew how to sell a building, but I had no idea how to sell a house. I was sharing this earlier. A developer, they come on the Daily Business Journal. They bought this property. They're going to build this. So for me, it was very easy to identify who they were, knock on their door, and get denied or get invited in with coffee. But when it came to finding one house for sale in the middle of nowhere, I thought it was impossible. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Nobody's raising their hand or advertising saying, hey, I need to sell my house. We had to be there before they even had that thought. So when the market crashed, I went from turnkey sales to general. And like most of us did, I went and I took a tour with most of the players out there, and everybody was doing the same thing. And I told myself, if I'm going to enter this market and compete against all the big boys there, I need to come up with something special, something different. And at the same time that the market crashed, I had my first beautiful baby boy, And I'm very spontaneous. I bought a beautiful camera that's going to take spectacular pictures and video. And my wife looked at me like, are you crazy? We just had a kid. We have all this stuff. And I said, no, babe, it's for real estate. It's for real estate. So long story short, had to fake it with a camera outside and come up with some real estate shots until, I shot a video and my client liked it. And I said, you know what? If he liked it and he's going to refer me somebody else, let me just add this to my listing presentation. And slowly but surely, we've been growing this, learning, paying our tuitions, making our mistakes. But, it's definitely catching on now. Cool? So I have the Inspire 1. This is it right here. Cool thing about this drone is that I can see what I shoot. And I can tell it where to go. And it shoots in high definition. It shoots at 30 frames per second, so I can't slow it down, unfortunately. I have to control it with my flight because if that doesn't come out good. It shoots high definition. And it retails for around $3,000. Okay? The cool thing about the worst thing about drones is they can fly perfectly and then one day just fly away and never come back. Okay, so for those of you guys that fly drones, I'm going to give you probably the best tip that I can. When the drone flies away and it's not going right in front of your clients, don't start screaming bad words and cussing and jumping up and down. Okay? Control yourself and be like, okay, it's part of it, it happens, and jump in the car. Okay? There's nothing worse than walking around with a control going, what the fuck did I go? What is it? Can't believe it went away. Did you see it? So yeah, control your emotions because, it's tough. It's tough. You got it.
What did you say the name was?
Inspire 1. So check this out. With the drones, the way that I started is one crazy Christmas. I got an AR drone, which is a little cheap one. And I got it with my kids, and I flew it inside my house. And I went to, near my house, we have a water tower. And I jumped in my car, and I flew in the water tower. And I came back, and I saw the video, and I said, wow. That drone cost me $199. Didn't last 2 days after that. We crashed it. So once we got that footage, I said, you know what? This is awesome. I love the way it came out. And for those of you guys that know me, I'm an artsy video type guy. So I went and I ran and I bought a drone. I bought the Phantom 2. I'm sure most of you guys are probably aware of that model now, the Phantom 2. And the cool thing about the Phantom 2 is $800, okay, plus the gimbal, which is $300, and then the GoPro, which is $500. So we're looking at what, $2,000 there. Easy to control. I lost 4 of those. Okay, so we call that. I told my wife we call that tuition. I had to pay that to learn, to be where I'm at today. But for those of you guys that want to play with a drone, buy a cheap one, crash it, okay? Once you feel comfortable, definitely go up to the Phantom 2, which is probably a good starter one, and follow the instructions. Don't fly near power lines or buildings. If you follow the instructions, you're going to do pretty well. But practice before you put a gimbal or a GoPro on it, because there's nothing like buying it and then crashing it an hour later and having to start over again.
And what's the gimbal?
So the gimbal, so when the drone flies, it shakes. So the gimbal, as you can see here, this right here, this is the camera here, this is the gimbal. So the gimbal, when this is shaking up in the sky, it allows the camera to just stay still.
Do you control the camera?
Yeah, I do.
From the...
You guys want me to fly it inside here or no? Yeah? Yeah or no? So listen, I'm a great drone flighter, but if it comes at you, run. Okay? So you know what? Let's listen. You put your phone on airplane mode, okay? The problem is that if you use the YouTube library, you can't monetize your channel. And so my channel, we probably get around 15,000 views a month, and YouTube pays me $35 every month. Not enough for a pizza where I'm from, but, huh? Yeah. In Google Ads revenue. So everything you're seeing right now is from a dead drone, by the way. All right? A dead drone. But more importantly, you guys can see a little bit of the power of that drone. From a visual perspective, it's really tough to compete against these views. And this is South Florida. For my Keys family, this is even better over here.
You have to keep it out of the water.
Huh?
So yeah, if you can keep it out of the water.
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy a drone. Hire somebody.
Yeah, it's ready, it's ready. So I'm not gonna fly it around the room, so I'm gonna, up and down a little bit and that's it. So, yeah, of course. So if I go here, you can see how the legs go up here, right? And now sorry about that. So like I said, I'm really good, but if it comes at you, run, run. Guys, picture. So, this is sort of, again, how we fly it. It's very controlled. This control has taken years of practice. So guys, now that my heart's coming back into my chest, first crowd flight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions or concerns before I wrap this up and head back to Miami? So what happens if it crashes into your car? So if you guys heard our legal team speak on Thursday morning, you didn't hear that? Well, she was saying that as a responsible real estate broker, I can use a drone and take videos and pictures. But my 13-year-old kid can go and get the same drone and crash it into your car and nothing happens to him. As a responsible real estate broker, I can get in trouble by the FAA.